Hi guys and good afternoon. You're on the TBK podcast. I'm your host for this session. My name's David and I've got with me my brother Tunde. And
Yo.
We're here right now talking about Natasha Jonas versus Katie Taylor, or Katie Taylor as the champion versus Natasha Jonas. It seems like Saturday, Tunde, we got a pretty stacked card to look forward to, man. And I think
Fantastic card.
For the ladies' contribution to the card, this is pretty much up there, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got Katie Taylor and Natasha Jonas, and I think that is going to be an absolutely superb fight. We've also got Richards against Bivol.
Yes, that's also on the card.
And there's a couple other fights, but I think we're going to be concentrating on Taylor and Jonas for now. And then,
yeah. So how do you see this fight going? Katie Taylor's been taking a lot of the limelight over on D show. Well, apart from Ebony Bridges and Shannon Courtney, and we won't go into that right now. I think looking at it now, this fight is really happening with minimal fanfare, and based on some of the stuff that we've seen from Matchroom, this could have been the main event fight by itself.
I definitely think it could have been set up as a fight on its own, but I think that's more to do with the whole pandemic issues and just trying to get fights put on, at all is the main thing. I mean, that particular card that we're talking about is stacked. But yeah, I definitely do agree that the Katie Taylor and Natasha Jonas fight could have been and should have been set up as its own pay-per-view bidding. I think it would have sold out, to be honest. But I can't complain having it on this bill. I really can't. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think with Katie Taylor, she's seen as a superstar of women's boxing, considering what she's been doing, in the amateurs and, in the Olympics. And Natasha Jonas, and we saw that with her last fight, with the last world title fight that she had, which was a draw.
Oh, well, I know who you're talking about. I know the fight you're talking about, but I can't remember the fighter's name.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. This is quite bad. I think it's going to be a bit of a cracker, to be honest. She's taken a big risk against Natasha Jonas. A big risk, because Jonas is not a joke. She's not a joke at all, and she showed that in her last fight. And I think it could go either way, to be honest.
Miriam Gutierrez should be in her last fight.
Who, Taylor?
Just Jonas. Yeah, I thought you were talking about Jonas.
No, Jonas had Jonas had, the world title fight that she had.
Terry Harper.
That's it. Yeah. I just think that, I think she's 36.
She's 36, yeah.
She's 36. So this is
34.
I just think it's going to be a really difficult one to call, but I think it'll go to points. I don't see a knockout. I think with women's boxing anyway, it's hard to get a knockout because of how short the rounds are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll go to points. I think it's very dicey. I can't call it. I think it might be a split decision, to be honest. I think Taylor might just edge it.
I personally agree with you. I think Taylor will edge it. It'll be interesting if she were to lose, especially being that she got defeated and Jonas has a defeat on her record. And sorry, it was Taylor that fought against Miriam Gutierrez. My bad. But Natasha Jonas, in many ways, she's been handled as though she's in the shadows, because obviously Katie Taylor's the golden girl of UK boxing, and she seems to be on a lot of people's lips, a lot of females' lips, in terms of when to take what she has, because she's got a full roster of belts. But I think, especially after watching her rematch against Delphine Persoon, we see that all that glitters isn't gold with Katie Taylor, though she is a very good boxer. I think if you can withstand the pressure and apply it as much or a little bit more, though she doesn't fold per se, she does seem to get a little bit concerned when she's under a lot of pressure, and we saw that in the first Persoon fight. I think the second one, Persoon sort of had the same level of energy, but Taylor upped hers, so we know that she can switch through the gears. And whilst Jonas is a pretty slick fighter, in terms of her engine, I don't know if she's necessarily got as much of an engine as Taylor, and that's where my concern is. In terms of, well, not concern, but that's where I'm giving it to Taylor. That's why I'm edging Taylor over her.
I see where you're coming from, but I think Jonas does have that engine. It's more in terms of Taylor's she's a very busy fighter, always punching. You know, 3, 4, 5 punch combinations, in and out, very, very quick on her feet. I'm not sure Jonas has the output, and to be blatantly honest, I think she has to stop Katie Taylor. I think that's her only chance. I think at best for her, she will lose a split decision. She will have to stop her, and in order to do that, she's gonna have to take a risk. And in the immortal words of Tunde Ajayi, empty the tank.
Let's just hope it's not 3 or 4 rounds too soon, yeah. But yeah,
at some point, it's going to be a superb fight, though.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to level any accusations out here or anything like this, but an observation is an observation. Unfortunately, I think it's a bit unfair that she has to stop Natasha Jonas. But when you look at what happened in the Garden, I mean, I'm sorry, first fight, Persoon definitely beat her.
She got the shock of her life. She didn't even know what hit her, to be honest.
Delphine Persoon definitely beat Katie Taylor and didn't get it. If she ain't going to get the decision when they're not fighting in England or Europe.
She's going to get the decision in England. There's no way.
She's Belgian. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Now, whether she can, not, because one thing we haven't really seen is Taylor buzzed. We've seen it. We've seen her shocked, but we've not really seen her buzzed. And does Jonas necessarily have what it takes to stop her? I don't know.
Do you know what? I still think with Jonas that she's underrated. Yeah, Harper got the shock. She got a proper shock with Jonas.
Yeah.
I don't think she realized how good Jonas was. And, I think Katie Taylor has a little bit more about her. I don't think she's going to be taking this fight lightly, but I think with Jonas that she's gonna try and put it on Taylor. And I think they're going to look at that Delphine Persoon first fight as a very good indicator of what, can be brought to Katie Taylor and affect her, because she was definitely shocked and affected in that first fight.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt. Because someone never came to lie down.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just be on the receiving end of a battering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With Jonas's trainer is saying that she's being primed to knock Katie Taylor out. So, we'll do this now. You've kind of already said it, but we're going to wrap this up. So what I want to hear from you is your verdict or your outcome for the night.
Split decision, Katie Taylor. I'd have to go with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going the same. It could potentially be unanimous. Well, according to the commentators, it'll probably be unanimous because they'll probably miss everything Natasha Jonas is doing. But I'm here to be shocked. I'll put it this way. I want to say that I'll be happy if I'm shocked, but I won't mind being shocked because it will be interesting to see Jonas get her crowning glory, and potentially what Jonas can do, what Taylor can do, coming back from a real dilemma. But in reality, I'm with you on that one, man. A split decision. So short and sweet. It's been a good conversation all the same. Thank you for listening, guys. This has been to say it in the words of Lawrence, the Tump Box and Kick podcast. I've been your host, David, and I'm here with Tunde. Take care.
Later.
And this is the TBK podcast.